I certainly hope we won't. I'm not up for the Armageddon. I'm not here for Armageddon. I'm here for the restoration of the Constitution and Bill of Rights. And let me say something else about Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, in a 3-month period, was openly waterboarded over 183 times, Troy. I really think that I could get you to go by the name Not So Pretty Little Princess for the rest of your life if I was able to waterboard you maybe 4 or 5 times. That's the kind of spineless coward that you are, I promise you that. All right, let's go to our next caller. Let's go to Mr. Black in California. Mr. Black, you're on the air.
Hello, Jason. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you too, sir.
I had a couple things I wanted to bring up. One was the Real ID Act.
Okay.
And if you're in a state like, say, New Hampshire or Montana that's not going to deal with a Real ID Act, when something like that is set upon the state, on the country, what do those citizens do? Are they allowed outside of those states?
That's going to be really, that's a really great question. You know what? I think they're going to make it more difficult for you to travel to. Well, the thing is that you're probably, if you're going to travel to Canada or outside the country, you're going to have a passport, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's got the Real ID in it without the Real ID Act. You know, so I mean I don't think they're going to restrict interstate travel. I think they're just going to continue to push for the Real ID and maybe make it an executive order. They'll say, look, there's 38 of. They always do everything incrementally. You know, maybe you'll get a fine or something at first. It really depends on how quickly this progresses. You know, if they do, you know, try this pandemic nonsense, or they do try mass quarantines, or they do try to, you know, regulate other things and really excelling the program. But I just suspect they like to wait things like this out. However, let's say another terrorist attack happens in this country. You know, they just hyped up those 4, you know, half-retarded, one guy was illiterate guys over in Newburgh. Who couldn't even get guns. They provocateured the whole thing, and they've got the nation in this terror scare. They pull off even a small attack, maybe then, you know, they'll be able to pass that Real ID legislation like that federally, you know, and it won't matter if you guys, bust it out. Who knows? I mean, I suspect that it'll be incremental.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to bring up, it was, you brought it into my head while I was waiting to talk to you, but you were talking about People magazine and everything.
Yeah.
You know, we get to hear about Paris Hilton and what she does and all these other scumbag celebrities. But what about all the elites' grandchildren and the nieces and nephews and all these teenagers that, are they all angels? How come we don't hear about these scumbags?
Oh,
you know?
They're not on the TV. See, like that girl was talking about, Bernays really did help bring up a culture where we were just obsessed with celebrity. And he saw, you know, the mesmerization early. And he said, you know what? We'll start smoking in movies, and you know, smoking will become big, and you know, the big tough guys will drink beer, and beer is going to become big. And we, in a lot of ways, are lemmings. You know, we want to, you know, look and act like the people that we look up to. We want to emulate, you know, what we feel is greatness. And unfortunately, people are obsessed with celebrity, and that is greatness and achievement to them. You know, the biggest achievement in somebody's life these days is, I'm on a reality show. I mean, people are actually aspiring to do that. And they could care less what their congressmen or their senators doing. Like I say, man, the majority of the populace don't even know that we have 3 branches of government. I mean, literally go on the street tomorrow, ask I'd say 9 out of 10 people will not know what the 3 branches of government are. You know, they have no idea how the system works anymore. So it's something we have to really overcome. We have to make it hip and cool again to actually be informed, to stay informed, to read, to have critical thinking, to look outside the mainstream media box. And, you know, maybe the top story this week shouldn't be the breakup of John and Kate +8. That's just my opinion.
Exactly. Well, hey, thanks a lot for the opportunity to talk to you, man. Jason, you woke me up. It was Alex Jones that kicked me in the head, but you woke me up, man.
All right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. All right. So let's see. We got Jesse in Texas. Jesse, you're on the line.
Hey, what's up, Jason?
How you doing, brother?
Okay. I was kind of thinking about something. Okay, so suppose that Mr. Obama didn't get nominated, and it was John McCain. Mm-hmm. So basically, it would be the same crap all over again, right?
Well, I would say this. It would be a lot more difficult for McCain to pull off what Obama's done, because the left would still feel like, oh, we have to get out of the war. With Obama, they really tricked people into thinking like there's a plan to get out of the war. And he says, oh, by the end of 2011, all combat troops will be out of Iraq. We promise. Now, in reality, you read between the lines, he says 50,000 non-combat.
Like a lot more people in.
The thing was that so many people were so pissed off and fed up with the Bush administration at the end. There was so much anti-war. People like Cindy Sheehan were in the news. They kind of squelched her fire. The media really stopped, even looking at her once she started running for Congress. You notice they didn't promote her once she tried to take political office away from Nancy Pelosi, because Pelosi's their girl. True. You know what I mean? So I think essentially you would see the same program, but there would be outrage. There would be a lot more anger. There's not anger. There's people wearing Barack Obama T-shirts.
That's true. And like I tell people, you basically have this, a disaster that, people are so thirsty for change that they'll just take anything, without even questioning it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the point. That's what we were just talking about. It's on the cover of a magazine. That's good enough for them. They hear it from an adult who watched the news, and the adult just believes whatever the news tells them. They parrot. It's a parroting process. I thank you for the call, Jesse. Let's go to Kurt in Colorado. Kurt, you're on the line. Yes, Kurt.
Two things. First, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hey. Two things. First, I got a Constitution quiz question for you.
All right, let's see if I can pass. Probably not, but we'll go for it.
Who's supposed to be the vice president?
Who's supposed to be the vice president? Isn't it supposed to be the vice president? It's not the Speaker of the House, right?
Mm-mm.
Or the majority leader? I know that the majority...
The Speaker of the Senate is the vice president.
Yeah, the majority leader...
John McCain should be vice president.
Well, I know that's if one of them... Yeah, but that's if one of them dies. I think that was amended later on. Because I know there's a succession process, right? So in other words, the president goes...
No, they never made an amendment for doing running mates.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whoever gets the second highest number of votes.
It's interesting. That's very, very, very interesting.
And that's a tool that they use to politicize the government, because the vice president is Speaker of the Senate. Mm-hmm. So if they're both Democrats or both Republicans, then they have that control over both branches.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but they still have control over both branches. You don't think Pelosi...
Oh, yeah,
Pelosi
they do anyway.
Pelosi was so pro-Bush after she got in. Oh, we're not going to prosecute. No, we're not going to start to do war crimes. I actually was the first person to look at the 9/11 issue. I did that congressional inquiry. I was the lead Democrat. I'm on the ball team. Sorry, I fooled you. And
yeah, right.
You know what? I've got Pelosi the demon. I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually put it in Invisible Empire, but I've got her at a forum called the New World Order, and I've got her in the audience with Dom Daschle and others, all these different players.
Really?
Yeah, oh, yeah, you better believe. Wait till you see this next movie.
I'm not surprised.
Hey, listen, this is not just a George Bush senior issue. This is the real deal. This has been talked about.
They're all into this thing.
Yeah, they brought it in the
I'm
back
really coming to grips with the fact that these guys are like Satanists and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, what is going on here? Hey, here's my other thing real quick.
Sure.
Can you give me dates or just repost on one of the websites the video or the article where Alex Jones called the White House and asked them to please not make the false flag 9/11 terrorist attack?
Yeah, listen, just go to YouTube and type in Alex Jones predicts 9/11. It'll come right up. I promise you.
Okay.
You know what? I know what it is. It's actually it's actually July 24th. I think it was my birthday.
Okay.
2001.
Okay, and then
July 20-something, 2001.
All right, and then where can I look up information on some of the clues about that?
Man. Oh, you're talking about some of the
the precursor news articles and that kind of thing.
Sure. Let me tell you, if you just look at the second edition of Loose Change, there's a pretty good timeline leading up to 9/11 right away. So yeah, just watch Loose Change second edition, man. I don't know if you've seen my other films, Loose Change Final Cut and Fabled Enemies. But if you want to if you want to see the full 9/11 spectrum, Loose Change Second Edition, is a little more speculative than the others. But I got to tell you, the intro, the first 10 minutes of it, with this timeline that leads up to 9/11, that should be good enough right there for you. Sound good?
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Later on. All right. Let's go to Solomon in Brazil. Solomon, you're on the line.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Brother Bermas. Greetings from Brazil.